I'm Hyundai the Dietitian, and welcome to Healthy Made Simple, where I show you how to make healthy eating simple. In this video, I will be showing you a dairy-free creamy tomato pasta sauce. Now, I love a little creamy pasta sauce every once in a while, and typically creamy pasta sauces are made with heavy cream and will have cheese in them, and that never sits well with my lactose intolerance. So I've been looking for a dairy-free alternative and testing out different ways of preparing it, and I finally found the one secret ingredient it takes to make a deliciously creamy pasta sauce that is also dairy-free at the same time. Today I made this pasta. This is a creamy tomato pasta sauce with some tofu and broccoli in there for veggies for a nice complete dish. And I'll show you how I put this together. Typically when I make this pasta sauce, I will use a jarred tomato sauce as my base, and then it just becomes a 2-ingredient pasta sauce where I'm going to use my jarred tomato sauce and this creamy secret ingredient that I'm going to be using for this to create this pasta sauce that you're seeing. But I didn't have anything jarred today, so I'm actually going to show you how I make a really simple tomato pasta sauce from scratch, and then what ingredient I add in to create that creaminess while staying away from dairy at the same time so that my stomach can tolerate it a little bit better. If you're interested in a dairy-free alternative to making a creamy pasta sauce at home, stay tuned to see how I put this delicious dish together. Alrighty, let's go. Alrighty, to make my tomato sauce, I'm going to start with some olive oil in my hot pan. And I don't have onions today, so I'm going to have to just skip it. But if you do, this would be a good time to also add in some chopped onions, and I think that would add a nice flavor to this. I don't, so I'm just going to do olive oil, and I do have my crushed garlic, so I'm going to add that in once my olive oil has warmed up a little bit. Alrighty, my olive oil is warming up, so I'm going to go in with my crushed garlic. I get the garlic cubes from Trader Joe's, and I like to use these just for ease. I'm going to do 4 cubes in there. All right, while my garlic is cooking up, I'm going to add in my canned products next. I'm going to go in with a can of diced tomatoes first. Next will be a can of tomato sauce, and this adds a nice tomatoey thickness. And then I'm going to go in with my seasonings, and I'm keeping the seasonings pretty simple for this one. So if you were to replicate this at home, you could easily do this. I think most of us have these spices and seasonings at home. The first one being garlic powder. Nice and generous with the garlic powder. And then next I'm going to go in with Italian seasoning. There we go, there's our Italian seasoning. And if you want to change up the spices, go for it. You're the boss. And then next I'm going to do chopped onions. These are the chopped onion flakes. All right. And then lastly, we're just going to go in with some salt and pepper. Very simple in terms of seasonings. I know typically pasta sauces that you would get at a grocery store have some sort of a sugar component to them. I do not like a sugary taste in my pasta sauce, so I never add in sugar. All right, next is the black pepper going in. And once we add in all of our seasonings here, we're just going to mix this up and let it cook down. And I don't typically have a time frame that I'm using in terms of how long it's going to take to cook. I kind of keep an eye on it. Usually I do medium-high heat when I am cooking this pasta sauce, and then I keep an eye on it. And what I'm looking for usually is that the tomato color tends to brighten up a little bit when it started to cook down. And then of course a taste test to see how it is tasting. But my guess would be about maybe 10 to 15 minutes. And then I will check on it. And while this tomato sauce is cooking up, I'm going to work on cutting up my protein and my veggies that are going to go in this pasta dish. You can do these protein and veggie options if you want to, but you can also switch up the protein, switch up the veggies with this too. My goal is just to show you that creamy tomato sauce that we're making so that you can replicate this with different options for protein and veggies to kind of keep making this dish and make it a little bit different every time. All right, I'm gonna let this cook up. I'm gonna put my lid on this and cook this on about medium-high heat. Once I see that it's starting to boil up, I'll drop down the temperature to about low-medium heat so that it's not overboiling, but that it's gonna stew nicely and make a nice, delicious tomato pasta sauce. Now for my protein, I'm going to be doing tofu. And I actually picked up this tofu from Costco not too long ago, and it was a 4-pack for about $4.50, which I thought was an amazing deal. They were $1 each, so I thought I have to grab it. I have to find ways to incorporate this tofu into our diet. I personally love tofu. I like the taste of it. I enjoy the texture of it as well. It's nice and soft. And right now I'm having some TMJ issues actually, so I'm looking for some soft foods to eat, and I thought tofu might be a good one to incorporate. But it's a great way of incorporating some sort of a plant protein in your diet if you're trying to do more of that. I know sometimes people are concerned about tofu and estrogen levels and affecting your hormone levels, but I have looked into the research when it comes to tofu and estrogen levels, and you would really need to eat really high amounts of tofu. And by that I mean you're eating tofu multiple meals a day, in large quantities at a time, that it's going to get to a point where the amount you're consuming is going to affect your hormone levels. So if you're just incorporating it every once in a while as a plant protein option, it's not going to mess with your hormone levels. Don't worry about it, but do include it as part of your diet. And if you don't like the taste of tofu, find different ways to make it. I bet you there is going to be one way out there that you're going to enjoy and want to incorporate. But what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to take them and cut them up into little cubes to get them ready to go into my pasta. I prefer little cubes so that it kind of just all blends in there. All right, I got my bowl of tofu ready to go. So next I'm going to work on cutting up my vegetables for this. And for this purpose, I'm using my broccoli, my steamable broccoli that comes frozen in bags. And I'm just going to cut these guys up into really, really small pieces to kind of let it distribute throughout the pasta sauce without having big chunks. If you want to keep them in big chunks, go for it. I don't see why you couldn't, but just because of the way that our family likes to prefer to eat these, I'm going to cut them up into small pieces and get them ready to go into my pasta sauce. All right, I got my bowl of broccoli ready as well, so let's head on back over to our pasta sauce to see how it's doing and whether it's ready for some creaminess. Alrighty, let's open up our pasta sauce and see how it is doing. Now, I did mix this around just one time while I was working on cutting up my veggies and my tofu, and just to make sure it didn't burn at the bottom. But this is looking pretty good to me. You can tell how the color has lightened up a little bit. That tomato has cooked up. So this is looking pretty good. And I'll do a quick taste test just to make sure it tastes good to me. All right, let's do a quick taste test. Yeah, that's got good flavor. I think that pasta sauce is ready to go. And now it's time for our creamy ingredient. To make this a deliciously creamy tomato pasta sauce, I am going to be using coconut cream. Now, this is my dairy-free alternative that I like to use. I've tried a couple different things before, but honestly, coconut cream does the job better than anything else out there. Make sure you get coconut cream, not coconut milk. Milk won't do the same thing. And the cream is thicker. You'll notice it's quite thick on the inside. I'll show you a close-up of it. It's quite thick, and that's kind of what gives it that creaminess that we're looking for. And it's a healthier version in the sense that we're getting all of our fat and creaminess from coconut, an actual fruit, versus heavy cream, which is a dairy byproduct. It's not necessarily healthier in the terms of having less fat. Coconut is still quite high in fat. It's got a lot of saturated fat, and we do need to be mindful of our saturated fat intake, which is why I say this is not something that we would have on a regular basis, but once in a while when I'm craving something creamy and want to do a dairy-free alternative. So the portions that I like to go for, if you're doing jarred, it's going to be 1 jar of pasta sauce to this. With this, we use 2 cans of tomato products, and I find that that works best with a can of coconut cream in terms of the proportions that you're going for. So I'm going to pour my coconut cream in there, and you can see it plops in there. There's that fatty bit, and that is what makes it deliciously creamy. All right, let's give this guy a little mix around so I can show you how it's going to create that creamy tomato sauce. And I did turn down the temperature just a little bit before I added this in because the pasta sauce tends to splash around quite a bit. So when you have it on higher temperature, but I am going to give this a mix around and let all that coconutty bits, the creamy bits kind of mix into my sauce. And you can kind of see it kind of looks almost like the color of vodka sauce if you've ever had like a vodka sauce, which is tomato based as well too. But that's kind of what it reminds me of. So I'm just going to give this a chance to warm up a little bit before I start adding in all of my ingredients. All right, my sauce is starting to boil up, so that coconut cream has warmed up, and it's going to be time for us to add in our protein, our veggies, and the pasta I cooked. While everything was going on, I did cook my pasta on the side. I have a brown rice and quinoa pasta that I got from Trader Joe's, so I'm doing that for a higher fiber option for my pasta. And in terms of the flavor of this sauce, this pasta sauce, it certainly does have a coconut taste to it. I mean, we are using coconut cream. You can't really escape the coconut taste from that. So if you don't like coconut flavor, this may not be for you. But if you like coconut, it reminds me of like a coconut curry. If you've ever had coconut curry and has that kind of a nice coconutty taste in there, that's what it reminds me of in terms of its flavor profile. All right, I'm going to first add in my tofu. So that's going in first. Try to do this without splashing myself. There we go. All right, tofu's going in. And then next I'm adding in my broccoli. And this is all my chopped broccoli going in as well. And I'm going to salt and pepper the broccoli and the tofu layer first before I mix it all around, since they have not been seasoned yet. And that's the black pepper. All right, I'm going to mix these guys into my sauce first. And look at that, it's looking so delicious already. And then next I will add in my cooked pasta. And anytime I add in pasta to some sort of a sauce, I do like to let it cook up in there just a little bit before I serve it so that the pasta can absorb the sauce. So when I'm cooking my pasta according to the package instructions, I always do the low end of it so it's pretty al dente. And then I'll add it to my pasta sauce and cook it for a minute or two in the sauce to soak up those flavors. And we do eat our pasta fully cooked. My son won't eat it al dente, so I do like to cook it all the way. And then next I'm adding in my pasta. This is my brown rice and quinoa pasta that I already cooked up. And it's kind of stuck together, so I'm just gonna plop it down in there. Perfect. Minus a couple pieces that escaped. And I'm going to do just one more small round of salt for the pasta itself. And I probably cooked this pasta a little too early because it did stick together, and it probably would have been better if I put it in fresh as soon as I strained it, but it's okay. It'll be fine. All right, let's mix these guys together. And make sure all of those ingredients get incorporated into there. All right, I'm going to put the lid on this guy and let this cook up just for a few minutes so that that tofu starts to cook a little bit more and the pasta sauce gets incorporated into my pasta as well too. Alrighty, I think my pasta is ready to go. So let's take a look. There we go. I think the tofu has cooked up just a little bit, and you can eat tofu raw, so don't worry about that. If you ever wanted to eat it raw, you can. I prefer it just slightly cooked in the sauce. I noticed that when I cook it for too long, it does get a little too tough, so I do like it cooked this way so it stays a little bit soft. But look at that. This is looking pretty delicious. I cannot wait to eat this. This looks so yummy, and it smells really good too. So I'm going to put this in a bowl and show you one final close-up of it. And my pasta is ready to go. Look at that. That is my delicious, creamy tomato pasta sauce. And this version I made is filled with protein from the tofu and broccoli for the veggies for a nicely balanced meal. I hope this video helps give you a good idea of how you can still have some creamy pasta sauces, even if you're trying to avoid dairy, whether you have an allergy or you're lactose intolerant like me, and you want to cut back on the dairy, but do want to incorporate foods like this, like a creamy tomato sauce, every once in a while as part of your balanced diet. And also how you can add some protein in terms of tofu and some broccoli to make it a really nicely balanced meal. Thank you so much for watching Healthy Made Simple. If you have not already done so, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more videos where I continue to show you how to make healthy eating simple and easy at home. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.